Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Quick Bites of AI, where we take a big old bite out of what might seem like complex AI concepts and make them digestible for you. Today, we're diving into the world of error metrics, specifically mean squared error, MSE, root mean squared error, RMSE, and mean absolute deviation, which is mad, but not the kind of mad where your toast burns in the morning. Though, we're going to make sure this explanation is toast-proof. So, let's set the stage first. Whenever you build and, train a machine learning model, what you're actually doing is teaching your computer to make predictions based on data that it has already seen. But, how do we know if it's making accurate predictions? That's where these things called error metrics come into play. They're like the report cards for your models. Let's start with mean squared error. Think of MSE as your go-to right-hand critiquer, just a tad less judgmental than your college professor. What MSE does is measure how off your predictions are. You take the differences between the predicted values and the actual values, square those differences, yeah, just like that algebra class you barely passed, and then average them out. Squaring them means, those pesky negative errors don't cancel out the positive ones, so you get an overall sense of how wrong your model might be. Then comes RMSE, the cool cousin of MSE with a twist, the square root. RMSE is like when you want to make things look a bit more relatable. By taking the square root of the MSE, you bring the error back to the original scale of the data. It's kind of like gently removing a magnifying glass so you can see things in a more real-world perspective. That square root helps when you need to explain the error to, say, non-math skilled colleagues or your mom. Unless she's a calculus professor, then applause for mom. Now, let's talk mad. No, not the emotion, but mean absolute deviation. Imagine you had a big bowl of candy. Yum. But you want to know, on average, how different each piece of candy is from a freshly selected choices piece. You calculate mad by taking the absolute values of the differences between predictions and actual values, then averaging those values. If you're tired of all that squaring business from MSE, mad might just be your metric soulmate. So, why all the fuss over these metrics? Well, each one gives a different perspective. MSE is great for larger errors because those get amplified. RMSE helps simplify interpretation. MAD provides a straightforward measure that's easy on the numbers game. Here's a fun tidbit. None of them are royalty, and you don't have to pledge allegiance to one over the other. It's about choosing the one that fits your data and your use case. Like picking a comfy pair of socks, everyone's feet are different. And sometimes, depending on the problem to solve, you'll find using a combination or observing several metrics gives a more holistic picture. And there you have it, your introduction to MSE, RMSE, and MAD. I hope we've transformed any madness into logical delight. Until next time on Quick Bites of AI. Keep it bite-sized and keep it fun. It doesn't have to be daunting. Sort of like your favorite cereal that always makes your morning.